Okay. I have no slides, no presentations, nothing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just tell my story from day one. How in 10 years, how Kapruka today is making 100 million, 1,000 million rupees or a billion rupees a year today in Sri Lanka. How we got there with no funding, with no capital, no investors, but just pure workaholism and my addiction to innovation. Okay, so to start the story, I remember when I was about 6 years old, I got a small red color toy van for my birthday. It had batteries and it had the lights on and all. I can still remember it in my head. That was a turning point. And looking back, I really wanted to know how the wheels were turning in this van. When you turn it on, the wheels were turning. It was I was so curious, so I managed to take it apart, and then I figured out, okay, there's like this ball-like thing connected to the wheels. That seems to be, now I know it's a motor, but I took it out and I connected it directly to the batteries, and I got it spinning on its own. And that was mind-boggling to me. And that, it just, it really woke me up about. Then I started taking more toys off. I remember, so if I keep backtracking my history, I come to that van and stop, because I feel that was like the start, that the earliest memory I have of innovation. I started building robots. I started building intercoms in the house. I remember building a walking, talking robot by the age of around 9 years. And would you believe he could fire missiles? Seriously. So I took a Haskura and connected to his hand, and I took a light bulb filament, connected to the Haskura, and then I powered it from a 9-volt battery, and he would fire the missile under my bed. And, my mother would scream, saying, why are you trying to burn the house down? But I even wrote a manual for this robot. How when you press this button, it's that, and like that. So I started my school at Royal, and I was at Royal from kindergarten until out. I can proudly tell, in a weird way I have never touched a cricket bat. I have never caught a ball in my life. I'm that geeky about not interested in sports, not interested in anything else, but waiting till the school's over to come, run back to my room to build my stuff, to experiment, do it. I never watch sports. I feel like there's a bunch of guys playing cricket somewhere else. It has nothing to do with me. Why am I going to waste half a day watching this? It has nothing to do with me. So I come back to my thing. I am addicted to that. So I remember starting a group in school with geeks like me, and I called it WizKids. Long time back, I created ID cards. I was 12 or 13 then. I created ID cards and, grouped them together, make sure that they have to wear the ID card if they come to the, the gatherings. And we were building things. We were, hacking programs, changing names, code generation, all that, the teenage stuff that we did. I wanted to tell you how crazy I was about inventing. Okay. I had 9 computers in my room, and my house is always full of my friends coming in, trying things out, all that. And I was really behind on my studies, because I remember, half the time, most of my friends, they jump out of school, they go watch a movie or do something else, but I would jump out of my class to be in the computer society. And so go on like that. At one point, when I was doing my A-levels, I was about maybe a year and a half before the exam. My dad was getting really worried about how behind I was, but I didn't realize it myself. One day when I came home, my entire computer lab in my house was empty. He has pulled my computers out from the plugs itself and put it in a box and sent it to my uncle's house. So he has kind of nuclear bombed my lab. And just to show me, look how behind you are. And I started studying, and I figured that how behind I was on my studies. So I skipped everything and again focused on my A-levels, and I actually became the island 7th in the math stream in that 1.5 years. So again, to point out, if you really get into something, it's always possible. But entrepreneurship was there from childhood. Okay. I'm going to now fast forward a little bit because I have maybe 1 hour. And so after A-levels, I wanted to do, my passion was robotics. The computers were not that much. Then I didn't want to go to university here because of the artificial intelligence, those courses were not available. And so I went to the University of Kentucky in the US, and I did, I'm not from a very rich family, I'm from a medium class family, so they could only, afford to buy my ticket out. From there onwards, I was on my own. So I did 4 jobs. I would deliver pizza at night. I would work in the restaurant in the morning. It's a campus restaurant. And then again, I would become a grader for one of the graduate study courses. And then again, working at the library again in the evening while doing 21 credits of more than full-time student. And all that, and managed to get through. But from the time I'm there, I always wanted a pet project in my life. If I didn't have a project on my own, I'm not happy. So Sithiyama.com was something that I started in early 2000 while I was in the US. I wanted to have a digital map for Sri Lanka. This is before Google and all that it had ever thought of digital maps. So I went to the survey department, got the map book, and I took it apart, removed the staples, took it apart, scanned each page, and I made a big JPEG, probably the size of this wall, the resolution, and I put it on a Java applet and connected to a database. And if you search for Royal College, if you search for Aranja College, it will show where it is. So it turned into a simple web application, and I hosted it on Sithiyama.com. I registered the name, and at one of the school I think it's like a workshop thing, Microsoft saw this project that I've done, and they asked me, did you do this on your own? They were kind of passionate about, me having the will to, it's a boring program, right? At the end of the day, it's a map. Why would you want to go through all that trouble? I didn't have a monitoring method, or I didn't have a reward system on it. So it's just, they appreciate that, and I got a job offer right after graduation. So I joined Microsoft, but from the day I joined, my goal was to find a way out. Because my passion was always innovation. I didn't want to become a number. I was like, employee number something in a 64,000 employee company. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. So I was stable. So what I wanted to do was to start something big enough that will, drive me through my rest of my career. So I thought, okay, let's invent something called single email. So that time, you couldn't, remember that the TTF fonts you had to always install to read newspapers, etc. Unicode was not available at that time. To send an email, you had to send an email in Sinhalese, you had to download a font and install it and do all these things. So I built this applet that you can type in Sinhalese and send it out, and it goes out as a JPEG image to the recipient. So the recipient will see it as a picture. So you don't need the fonts to read that. And that I got a patent from Sri Lanka, and then I needed a place to host this. So I can't put it on. The only domain I had was Sithiyama.com. So can't put it on there, it doesn't make sense. I was thinking, now look, I'm going to be having more ideas. I better have a platform that will support all of it. Then again, the Amazon, and those are very generic names that you can do almost anything with. So that's when I wanted we kept thinking, and got the word Kapruka. And I registered Kapruka.com, those days. And it is a word that is one of my key criteria of a domain name. You cannot misspell this word. You try hard and see, you cannot misspell Kapruka. Right? So that, and then I put this single email system in it. And I saw people using it. I saw people sending emails out, but most of these people were not Sri Lankans. Living in Sri Lanka. They were Sri Lankans living outside of Sri Lanka that are heavily using it. So I thought, okay, maybe I can start selling something to these guys since they are now coming to this website. So now I'm in the US. I don't have any business partners or anything in Sri Lanka. Most of my partners in crime those days have, migrated to other countries. So, but I had one guy, he was a little elder gentleman named Sugat. He was an ex-telecom engineer. He was still in Sri Lanka. So I called him and said, look, Sugat, I'm going to try to sell something on this website called Kapruka that I created. If I get any orders, can you ship it from Sri Lanka to whatever the address? Because my idea was to sell CDs and books. Because when you are a Sri Lankan outside of Sri Lanka, you immediately start missing books. You immediately start missing CDs. This is before the whole YouTube stuff came up that far. So you really was hungry for this kind of content. He said, okay. He kind of had a little bit of faith in me. He said, okay. So I got him to scan all, the classical CDs like Amaradeva and, Victor Ratnayaka, that, the Saprasangya, that kind of CDs into, and then send it to me. We added to this site, and I built the first e-commerce website of Sri Lanka. I strongly believe that at that time it was the first ever, because I had to build the payment gateway from scratch. It had to, I linked it with VeriSign and then Wells Fargo Bank and all that, because Sri Lanka didn't have those payment gateways. And waited. I launched it on a February 1st. And I got the first order on the February 5th. It's funny enough, my birthday. And it was for 6 CDs from a guy called Neil Dyers living in New York. I was all excited, like, oh, finally, the first order. And I called Sugat and said, look, we have an order. You send these are the CDs. Please send it to this address. And I called him again. I said, no, don't send it to New York. Send it to me. I want to see how this looks. So he sent it to me, and it was in a thin cardboard box. And I can't believe actually these 6 CDs made it in one piece to me. I took it out, and then I put it in a better box. I put the invoice in there. I put Regiform in there, wrapped it up pretty well, and sent it to Neil Dyers, the real customer. And I told Sugat, look, hereafter when you're sending, do these steps. And then I was getting about 1 order for every 2 weeks, that slow. Then we added books. Now, we added more content, like, handicrafts, things like that. We were getting about maybe 1 order a week. Then I thought, what about the other way around? These Sri Lankans who are outside the country wants to send stuff back to Sri Lanka. Like, like my mom's birthday is coming up, I want to send her flowers. And I go to 1-800-flowers.com, and it is, $300 to send 12 roses to Sri Lanka. So, okay, I called Sugat, asked, if I add flowers to Kapruka, and if I get an order, can you go to Dean's Road and get a tuk-tuk guy to deliver the flowers to an address? I said, okay, let's try. So I downloaded some pictures of, flower arrangements. These are generic flowers, okay, six roses, a dozen, etc. So we could find on the web. You don't have to take pictures from scratch. And we were getting orders. So Sugat would run to Dean's Road, get the flowers into a bunch, put it into a 3-wheeler guy, and ask him to deliver to Dehivala and Avalo, wherever. We don't even know if it got delivered. We assume it got delivered, and we update the order. So this was really picking up, because I was getting about maybe 3 orders a week for these flowers, when you get only 1 order a week for the books. So then we added, we wanted to add cakes. I remember I wanted to add Fab cakes. So I told Sugat to, go talk to Fab. So he went to Fab, and I don't think he was present in the company that he was not, great at communication. I think he messed it up. Fab has chased him away. No, we are not interested. So then I had to give a call from the US with a US accent and all that, and sound like this big company, Kapruka, wanting to add you guys. It still didn't work. They didn't buy that. So what did I do? I didn't give up. I told Sugat, okay, let's start even lower. Let's go. What is the next cake brand you have at that time? Good. Okay, Little Lion Cakes. Go and get Little Lion Cakes. It's okay. So he got Little Lion Cakes, and we added to Kapruka, and we were selling. And then we had a sales count going. And again, I tried my second time luck with Fab, and it worked. So we added Fab. Today, we are doing 2.7 million rupees of cakes for Fab per month. It's bigger than some of the outlets doing. So just that is Fab itself. Okay, that's fast forwarding up there. So we added more and more items, and And Sugat said, look, I can't do this on my own anymore. I need our first employee. So I told him, okay, go get a guy. And then he had this corner of his house, with a rope and a corner just to do this packaging and stuff because his kid won't crawl into that area. And then he said, look, we think we need to get a small annex or something like that. So we got like a 300-foot kind of a corner of a balcony kind of a place. And all this I have not seen because I don't come to Sri Lanka. I'm still there, doing this all through Skype and over the phone. And whatever the money we got, I would just, spend it again on the server. By the way, this was running on my laptop, okay? The whole website was running on my laptop, connected to my home ADSL connection. So we didn't have any hosting thing, nothing. So we got the first employee. I'm going to kind of fast forward, okay? We got the first employee. We got the first three-wheeler. We got the first van. We got the first, little bigger building. And today, just to put everything in perspective, we have 200 plus employees. We do $500 to $700 a day. And as I said at the beginning, we do ₹1 billion a year. And it's just, for up to today, I can proudly say I have never walked into a bank and borrowed any money. I have never got an investor to spend a cent on Kapruka. Everything was built on its own. From this shirt I'm wearing to the car I came into, everything in Kapruka was reinvested money because of the innovation and the service that we give. But it took 10 years. Maybe if I had an investor, maybe if I had a bank loan, I could have done it faster. But I strongly believe in organic growth in a company. Organic growth plus this addiction to innovation. So even up to today, I code. I code every other day, at least 3 hours a day. I love coding. I strongly believe if you cannot coach, if you cannot play, you cannot coach, especially in the tech environment. Like you take Facebook, there's Mark. If you take Amazon, there's Jeff. Right? If you take Microsoft, there's Bill. If you take Google, there's Eric. All these tech companies, there is a geek or a techie person involved that they can run, not a businessman, but a techie person. So that characteristic is there in Kapruka. Secondly, I want to say one of the most important things for entrepreneurs. Now I'll give you some advice. Now that my story is over about Kapruka, I'll give you some advice. The most important thing is your team. That's something I learned. You can be the smartest guy in this room, but you can't do a damn thing without a team. You can't do these things alone. You need a team. So unless you take care of your team in a very genuine way, your biggest challenge after your idea grows will be people management. Handling your team, keeping them motivated and all that. So how I do it at Kapruka is I take care of them in a very genuine way without expecting anything in return. I had this characteristic in me from childhood. I remember like when I was about 12 years or 13 years, that range, I was very bothered by the fact that we had some servants in the house who didn't have anything to do after they are done with their daily work. It used to bother me so much. They are bored now. What? So I went and I used my collected money to buy them a black and white TV to the kitchen. And that gave me so much joy. That kind of, it's unbelievable that the joy that gave me, okay, now they're happy. When they're done with their work, they have something to do. The same thing I'm applying in Kapruka today. The team at Kapruka is amazingly, from the security guard all the way up to me, everybody comes to work with a smile and they're highly rewarded. I think we are doing probably a 900 people's work using 200 people because they're so motivated. This doesn't mean that, we are not tough. If you take every employee, some people, they perform 30%, they will not last long. But the people who are capable, we take really, really good care of them. And when I put a tap on the back, it's not a pretension. It's not about, I do it because I really, really connect with that person. And we reward with, no strings attached. Like in Sri Lanka, we have this thing about Imagine, pirikarak dena kila pansale katare. What do you think? You worry like, is he going to sell this? Is he going to, what's going to happen to this? You have the strings attached to it, right? So I don't do that at Kapruka at all. I give and then forget about it. You can do whatever you want. Then it becomes a real gift. And they realize then later, look, your boss is not being, pretentious about you. He's really takes care of you. And what they do is they take care of the company on its own. So this is something entrepreneurs miss. You guys are so focused on the idea, but you forget that you cannot take it too far without having a very strong team and a real team. And next advice, get married fast. Seriously, for all the entrepreneurs I tell this, because you want to be really done with that chapter, okay? Because it will disrupt you. It will bother you too much, like you imagine you are really into, let's say you are doing the Kapruka project, and in the meantime you have to spend time dating and breaking up and doing all that stuff. It will really bother you. It will disrupt you. It's like a noise in your life. You got to tune it to a station and get it locked. Get it out of your way. That will make things so much easier, hoping that you'll get married to the right person. Otherwise, you'll have to listen to a whole wrong channel all year. But get it right and get it out of your way very fast. Don't think like, okay, I will start my company and then worry about that. Because it can go either way. And the next thing is, I will tell you where Kapruka is into today. The next innovation was the Kapruka Global Shop. Because I really wanted to do real e-commerce in Sri Lanka. What is the big thing about selling something in Sri Lanka? Online. Why would somebody buy something online in Sri Lanka? You will say, either you will expect a huge discount, let's say 30-40% discount, or it has to be a unique item that you don't normally get somewhere. Otherwise, you are not going to buy it online. You will still want to go to Unity Plaza, Liberty Plaza, touch and feel the device, and I'm talking about a phone, and then talk about the warranty, bargain, and buy it. You are not Sri Lanka is not used to ordering something online and staying at home till it gets delivered. So I wanted to change this, and most of the time what I saw was all these other websites coming up in Sri Lanka that were deal oriented. We never offered a deal at Kapruka. We stayed away from it because the big baby that I was making up was the Kapruka Global Shop concept, to give a huge choice. Amazon, 52 million products are on Amazon. I'm talking about different products. I'm not talking about a red ball and a green ball. I'm talking about a red ball and a green brick. Okay, completely different. I have 52 million just on Amazon. So what we built was a place called the Kapruka Global Shop. You come in, what you see is an empty building, 4,000 square feet, 400. You have chairs named Amazon. You have chairs named Walmart. You have chairs named Target. Chairs named Macy's. Chairs named even Victoria's Secret. You can sit on an Amazon chair and order any item from Amazon, and we will bring it down for you for a 5% fee. What we do is we have built something called the import simulator, which I've applied for 3 patents on from Geneva itself, because we cannot find this anywhere else in the world. This will simulate the import. Let's say you have found a phone on Amazon for $100. I will say it's $23 duty. $4 TRC fees, Kapruka fee is this much, your final price is this much. If you are okay, you pay us. You don't even have to pay. We bring it down, and once you see the product, you pay and take it. So this will disrupt everything, all e-commerce in Sri Lanka, my belief, because look at the choice you are getting. 52 million items just on Amazon. Imagine eBay. Imagine Walmart. Imagine all these other websites that we can support. And we became the 3rd largest customer of DHL overnight because of this service today. You can find a $1,000 laptop today. Now Dell's going to get worried. $1,000 Dell laptop today on Amazon for $300. And we price it for $300. Duty for $300. and it'll be here in Sri Lanka for maybe $390. Yeah, the Kapruka fee is clearly marked. It is 5% of that $300. We don't make anything else. Everything else is transparent. That's the power of global shop. That is the future of Kapruka that we invented. Okay. End of Kapruka stories, and then I gave you 2 advices. And one, to reiterate, take care of your team. 2, get married fast. 3 is think about the size of this country and the advantage you have because the size of this country. I am damn lucky to be born in Sri Lanka. If I was born in India, I had no chance of starting Kapruka. Because there'll be Kapruka 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Everywhere. Or maybe I will be one of those 3, 4, 5, 6 and they would have been started before me. You have this advantage. You can get so many ideas. You don't have to invent this from scratch. You can take the ideas that are already working in other countries and apply it in Sri Lanka and get this market. Okay, have any of you heard of one example, Carfax.com? Carfax is a US service where when you enter the VIN number of any car in the US, it will give you its history. It was bought in 1998, it was serviced this way, it had an accident here, it was reclaimed here, the whole history. They buy that data from police stations, insurance companies, all that, and link it and give it to you in one place. In the US, most people don't buy anything without the Carfax report now. It's $10. So before you buy the car, you run the report and you see the entire history. Even the oil changes, everything that are publicly available at garages, etc., they buy that and put it in one place. That's just one idea I told you. I have like 100 in my head that I can tell you like that you can try here. I have no time to try this. Because that's another thing. That's my 4th advice is you need to really pick on what not to do. Okay, because you can only do so many. For a day, so many people reach me and say, would you like to invest into this? Would you like to start this? Here's an opportunity. There is so important to say no to those things. Because you will really get tired and you will lose your spirit when you try so many things. This is something one of the Buddhist priests told me that really helped me, some time back. He used to tell me he had a glass of a flower glass in front of me. He picked it up and he said, look, I really loved it. I picked it up, but now I'm holding it. If I hold it for 10 more minutes, my hand's going to pain. And then if I hold it for half an hour, it's going to be such a hassle for me. So why did I pick it, kind of a thing. So that really helped me to rethink before you start something, whether you really can hold it or not. So it's important, just because you have so many ideas not to try it. And the 5th advice is have the courage to give up stuff. If it is not working, don't be a hero and keep thinking I'm Mr. Never Give Up. I'm going to somehow do this no matter what. Just close it down. Go to your next idea. If you don't believe in it, if it seems like not working out, because do you know you guys live only about 7,000 days? You calculate and see, remove all your sleeping hours and all that. We have only about 7,000 days. Right? Quickly move. Close it down. Quickly move. The only thing that I've done other than tech stuff, other than Kapruka, is, as she said, the Java Lounge coffee shop. Because I have so much respect for coffee because it helps me to stay up at night. I work 18 hours a day. My wife has put up a sleeping chart in my room. Seriously, there is on Tuesdays and Thursdays I have to sleep by 10. On the other days I'm allowed to wake up till 3 o'clock in the night. But other days, if I don't sleep on her sleeping days, she makes sure she rolls over to the next day, so somehow it gets covered. To see 200 strangers, the dean sitting here, everybody, all this setup should put stress on me. But what that does is, it really prepares your body. It makes you breathe faster. It pumps more blood to your brain. And it just, physically your body is getting you ready to a challenge. But now, we are human and we are Panditaini. So we get worried about this. But what's happening is naturally it's preparing your body, but we get worried about the preparation and get stressed about that. Oh, I'm sweating now, I'm excited now, oh my God, while they laugh at me. All these things, gets you worried. Now, that's the same consciousness. You don't put up your hand and ask a question sometimes because you are too conscious.